Do you have a podcast and want to reach more listeners, have full control over your content, and even generate revenue? Then Elementor Hosting is the perfect solution to create your WordPress podcast website. Hey there, I'm Aviva from Elementor. In this video, we'll build a podcast website in about half an hour. But first, why WordPress? WordPress is the most popular and versatile website building platform, powering around 43% of all websites worldwide. Thanks to its active and supportive global community, WordPress offers countless ways to extend and customize your website with numerous plugins, themes, and templates. More about those later. And WordPress is open source, so you'll have full ownership and control over your content. In this video, we'll be using Elementor Hosting. It's the fastest and safest way to get started building your WordPress website. Despite its reputation for being free of charge, building a website with WordPress does come with costs. The WordPress Content Management System, or CMS, is open source and free, but additional services such as a domain name, hosting, templates, a page builder, and some plugins and themes are not. The cost can vary depending on the type of website and its complexity. What is hosting anyway? You can think of hosting like renting a space in a building, only it's a place for your website's files and media. Some hosting companies still follow the old school way of doing things where you have to install WordPress and additional services. And while some of those hosting companies will install them for you, there may be a hidden fee. Elementor Hosting comes with everything we need to get our website off the ground, pre-installed. No need to install WordPress or a theme. Perfect for WordPress beginners. So, what's a theme? Every WordPress website requires a theme. A theme determines the look and feel of your website, including things like page layout, color schemes, and font types. But the process of customizing a theme is not at all straightforward, which is why page builders such as Elementor were invented. In general, page builders allow us to drag and drop elements to build a website without writing any code. Elementor Pro gives us even more control as it lets us design every part of our website, including our header and footer, to name a few. Oh, and did I mention that Elementor Hosting also comes with the Elementor Pro Page Builder plugin pre-installed? Great, but what's a plugin? In short, a WordPress plugin expands the capabilities of a WordPress website and adds new features. There are lots of WordPress plugins, such as plugins for backups, security, performance, and forms, just to name a few. But rather than install a plugin for each of these and more, the Elementor Pro plugin covers them all. Having fewer plugins means less time wasted on updating plugins and worrying about plugin compatibility. Elementor Hosting has us covered. All right, now that we know why to use WordPress, we're ready to dive in and start creating our podcast website together. Today, we'll build a podcast website for Brainwave Banter, a tech podcast hosting conversations with experts and influencers from around the world. If you'd like to follow along, I suggest having your own podcast content handy, including images, text, and podcast episodes, so you can add them to your website as we go. We'll get started by setting up our Elementor hosting account. From elementor.com, click Get Started. Here we're prompted to choose a design to start our website. Let's choose a website kit, which is a collection of matching templates we can use to quickly create our website and then customize for our own unique podcast site. Let's take a look at this Candle Shop one-page website. It's a straightforward layout to work with and provides options to collect payments using PayPal and Stripe buttons, which saves us from having to set up a complete shop. It's perfect for boutiques with only a few items to sell, single-service businesses, or websites that create content and collect donations. It's also great to have on a podcast website to give people a way to support production of high-quality content. So let's start with this design. Click Buy Now to continue our purchase and complete the checkout process. Be sure to look out for your welcome email to get exclusive access to our Elementor Beginnings Facebook group. We'll choose a site name, then click Next. Once it's ready, we'll click Let's Go to customize our podcast website. This brings us straight into the Elementor Editor, where we'll customize our homepage, including all the images, text, and styling. Let's take a quick tour. In the left panel, we have widgets. These are the elements used for designing and building our website. On the right, we have the canvas where we'll structure and style our website. Next, we have the Elementor top bar, which gives us quick access to the settings we use most while working in Elementor. We'll go over these options in the top bar as we progress through our website. Let's start customizing our website by setting up the site identity. Click the Site Settings icon and select the site identity. Under Site Name, we see the name of our site. We can change it here or leave it as is. Now change the site description. Next, we'll need to upload a logo and a site favicon, which is the little icon in the Browser tab that helps identify our site. Clicking Site Logo brings us into the Media Library, where we can choose an existing image from our kit or upload a new one. Now's a good time to go ahead and drag in all our website image files. We'll select our logo and do the same for the favicon. Click Save Changes and go back to Site Settings. Next, we can update our kit colors to match our brand identity by changing the kit's preset global colors and typography. For example, changing the primary color to purple will change the color of all the elements whose color is set to primary to purple. I'll undo the color change and leave it as it was, since the colors from the kit actually work for Brainwave Banter, but feel free to update the colors for your site. Global fonts work similarly to global colors, but with typography settings instead. I'll leave the fonts as is for my website. Let's go back and close the site settings so we can continue editing our homepage. We'll start by customizing the first part of our website, also known as the hero. The elements of our hero are held together inside a container, as outlined by this pink line. We can think of containers as structural boxes that hold and organize our website content. We'll select the container by clicking its handle. Click the Style tab, and here we can see that this image is being used as a background image for this container. So it displays behind the other elements, in this case behind the text. To change it, we'll click on the current image. Then we'll select one to use here. Next, we'll click on the first text element, and now we can see it's a heading widget. We'll update the title text. Great. Now let's select the next element, which is also a heading widget and serves as our subheading. We'll change its text as well. Elementor has a built-in AI editor, which we can try for free, that lets us edit images, generate text, and even code. We can access it anywhere we see this icon. So let's try out the Elementor AI text generator to help us write a description for our podcast. We'll check Approve and click Get Started. Click New Prompt and we'll type in a prompt to explain what we need. Click Generate Text. I'll manually edit the text a bit, and we have some options below to further edit. But this looks great, so we can click Use Text. Let's scroll down and move on to the next container. Instead of using this container, we'll create a new container here to display some of the latest episodes of our podcast in a carousel. But before we delete the existing container, I have an idea for how we can use the layout on the left later. So let's save a copy of it to reuse later. We'll open the Structure panel from the top bar. This floating panel shows us the structure of our web page, and we can use it to help us better understand the arrangement of elements and organize them on our page. Let's expand the main shop container, and here we see it holds two more containers inside it. We'll select the first container inside, which is the left container, and is now selected in the canvas. Let's right-click it and select Save as Template to save a copy of it. We'll name it and click Save. Now we can go ahead and delete the main container by clicking the X. Next, we'll go back to the first container, right-click and select Duplicate. This makes an exact copy of the container, including the layout and spacing settings, so now we can quickly modify the content without the need to build a new container from scratch. Let's delete the background image, then change the background color to our secondary global color. Before we continue, let's close the Structure panel so we can see our content better. We'll go to the Layout tab. Under Justify Content, we'll click Center. Next, we'll update the heading text, change the HTML tag to H2 since it's a secondary heading, and adjust the styling settings. We'll change the text below and switch its HTML tag to P for paragraph text. Next, we'll change the width of the paragraph to make it wider and take up less height. We'll click the Advanced tab, and under the second width option, change the unit of measurement to %, and type in a new width. Great! Time to add our carousel. Let's find the Loop Carousel widget from the Widget panel and drag it into our container. We'll add the latest episodes of our podcast later. For now, let's move on to the next container. We'll select the left container and change the background image. And in the right container, we'll update the heading and delete the text below. Then we'll select the next widget below. This is the Text Editor widget, which gives us more formatting control over longer texts. We'll paste in paragraph text here. Next, we'll change the background color. We'll select the right container and in Style, change the background to gradient. To make a gradient that complements our photo, for our first color, we'll click the color swatch and choose the color sampler to extract a color from our image. I'll choose this light purple. For the second color, we can sample another color, choose a global color, or in my case, I'll paste in a hex code for a different shade of purple I'd like to use. Then adjust the gradient location and angle. This brings us to our next container, where we have a form. I went ahead and changed the styling beforehand, since we've already covered how to change colors. Next, we'll see how to configure the contact form. The form our kit provided is a basic contact form, which is perfect for most websites' form collection needs. But if you do need to add more fields, you can click Add Item, select a field type, add a label, and placeholder copy. I'll click the X to delete the new item, and we can move on to Actions after Submit, which is where we can specify what happens when our visitors submit the form. The default actions are Collect Submissions, where we can view the submitted forms right from WordPress, and Email. To add more actions, click the plus icon where we can choose from a full list of actions, including integrations with many popular marketing platforms. To set up Email to receive form submissions, we'll expand the Email tab and paste our email address, if it's different than the default. We'll leave the subject field as is, since it's already set up to show that the email is coming from a form submission on our website. We can leave the rest of the settings on their defaults. Now for the last container. We'll change the background image. And we're done with the first part of personalizing our homepage. We'll click Publish to save our changes. We're off to a great start. Time to add our podcasts. To do this, we'll create a dedicated post for each podcast that includes the title of the episode, the transcript of the episode, an audio player that allows visitors to listen to the episode, as well as access to our other episodes. To set up our posts, we'll exit to the WordPress dashboard. Then click Posts, Add New. This takes us into Gutenberg, the WordPress block editor. Here, we can add the title of our first episode, then paste in the transcript. Let's add a new category of episodes. That way, if we ever want to add different types of posts in the future, such as articles, WordPress will be able to differentiate between them. We'll skip past the featured image, since our focus is mainly on audio content. Then, we'll write a short paragraph for the excerpt. We'll need to reload the page soon, so let's make sure to save as draft before continuing to the next step. We want our visitors to be able to listen to the podcast episodes in various places on our website, such as from the episode archive and inside the individual posts. We can either host our audio files on our own website or an external service, so we'll need to place each episode's URL in its post to display on our website. WordPress comes with its own built-in custom fields feature, which together with Elementor dynamic content superpowers allows us to create unique layouts for recipe websites, listing websites, and of course, a podcast website. Let's set it up. We'll first need to enable WordPress custom fields. Click the three dots icon on the top right, then select Preferences. Click the Panels tab and switch Custom Fields on. Now click Show and Reload Page, and voila! Custom Fields now displays. We'll name our field Audio URL, and we'll use it in the Elementor Editor to connect the audio player later. In Value, we'll paste the link to the audio file. I'll link to a podcast episode hosted on Spotify. Great. Now click Publish. We'll go ahead now and add in the rest of our episodes by adding a new post for each one, along with its relevant link. Now that we've added our post content, it's time to design our single post template. A single post template is a special type of template we use to customize our posts. It uses dynamic content so that each post will pull in its own unique episode content, but still share a consistent layout without the need to design a post for each episode. We'll use Elementor to design our single post, and here we'll display the audio player, the transcript for those of our visitors who prefer to read the episode, and a few other elements to keep our visitors engaged with our website. From the left panel, click Templates, Theme Builder. Here in the Theme Builder, we can find all our site's global parts, which are templates that may be repeated across our site or have special conditions set for them. This kit already comes with a 404 error page template, header and footer templates, and now we'll click Single Post, Add New, to add a new single post template. Here we can choose from a selection of starter layout templates, especially designed for single posts. Let's take a look at this one. It's well aligned with the Brainwave Banter podcast branding with a clean layout, so let's use it for our single post. Click Insert to add the template to the page, and choose Don't Apply so we don't override our existing page settings. In case you're wondering where the background image that we saw before in the template went, if we go to Style, we can see that it doesn't appear because it's set to display the featured image. Recall that we intentionally left the featured image empty when we created our posts, since we won't need featured images. Instead, we'll create a background that will display on all our posts using Elementor AI. If you prefer, you can upload your own image here instead. Remove the featured image by clicking the X and click the sparkles to open the image AI. We'll type in a prompt to create a 3-colored gradient background with a blur. Change the aspect ratio to suit our template and click Generate Images. Ooh, I like this one. I'll click Use Image. Let's scroll down and see what else we have. First, we have a button that takes us to all the posts, and below that, the publish date, category, and episode name. Select the button and change the text. Then for the link, we'll click the wrench and delete the current search. We'll type in our category, episodes, and select it when it displays. Next, we'll remove the extra space below the button. We'll click the Advanced tab and delete the padding on the bottom. There. Now we have space for the audio player, which we'll add soon too. The post information and post title are dynamically or automatically pulled from the posts we added in the WordPress dashboard, so we can leave them as is. Let's go ahead and add the audio player. We'll click the plus icon to open the widget menu and search for the SoundCloud widget. Drag it in and place it under the button. Next to the link field, we'll click the dynamic tags icon and select Post Custom Field. For the key, select the custom field we entered earlier, Audio URL. And here's our episode. Our post template will now pull in the relevant information for each episode. If we scroll down, we can see a grid of posts displayed where we can access recent episodes. Let's replace it with something more engaging, where visitors can either navigate to an episode post or listen to it right from here, without leaving the page. We can even add an option for our audience to donate to our podcast channel. First, we'll update the heading text. And now for the fun part. From the widget panel, search for a loop and drag in the loop carousel widget. The loop carousel widget lets us create scrolling slides where we can showcase different types of content, including dynamic content to engage our visitors. It works by pulling in a template, which we can then customize. Remember the container we saved to our library while editing our homepage? Time to use it. Click Create Template. Click Save to save the changes to our single post. We'll click the folder icon to open our template library and click My Templates. We'll find the template we saved and click Insert. We'll click Apply this time, since in this case we want to import the template settings. Let's adjust the container styling and the elements inside to suit our website and go with our design. We'll start by changing the background color so we can see all our content. Then we'll go to Border and add a border radius to round the corners. We'll click the link to make all the padding equal on all sides and change the unit to %. Then we'll add a bit of padding so it's now the same all around. Select the heading, click Dynamic Tags and choose Post Title. Then style the headings. We don't need an image here, so let's delete it. We'll insert the SoundCloud widget at the top and assign the link to Custom Post field. Delete the price. Let's fix the button alignment by changing the container direction to column vertical. Now we can see the two different buttons that allow us to collect payment or donations through our website, without having to install an extra plugin. For this website, I'll use PayPal, but feel free to offer Stripe or even both options on yours. We'll enter our PayPal account email address, then select Donation as the transaction type. We'll set the item name to Post Title so we know through which episode the donation came from. We'll leave the donation amount on Fixed, specify an amount, and select the currency. To finish it off, let's change the button text and update the colors. Great! Now we're ready to collect donations. Let's add another button to view the full episode post. We can't really see it yet because the text is the same color as the background. To quickly style it, right-click the PayPal button and select Copy. Then right-click the new button, Paste Style. Cool! Edit the button text and set the dynamic link to Post URL. Click the gear icon for the settings and let's rename our loop template. I'll call it Episodes Loop. We'll use it again shortly in the archive template. Click Save and Back to leave the loop template and go back to our single post template. Looks good, but we should remove the current post from the carousel. So we'll go Query, Exclude, then click the plus icon and select Current Post to hide it. Next, we'll delete this Posts widget. Click Publish, and now we're prompted to choose where to display our single post template. We'll click Add Condition and choose Category, Episodes. So we only show this template for posts that are under the episode category. Click Save and Close. Great! Next up, we'll build our archive page where we'll display all of our podcast episodes. Hold down Command or Control-E to open the Elementor Finder, which gives us quick access to various areas across our site. We'll start typing Theme and select Theme Builder when it pops up. We'll hover over the Archive tab and click the plus icon to create a new template for our archive page. We'll use a similar styled template to the one we used for the single post. Go ahead and edit the content and styling for the text elements. Now, from the widget panel, find and drag in the Loop Grid widget above the Posts widget. Loop Grid is a special widget that lets us customize the appearance of our post listings, in this case, our podcasts. To use the Loop Grid widget, we'll need to create, or, as in our case, use an existing template. For the template, we'll choose the loop template we created earlier, Episodes Loop. Great. Let's leave the number of columns at 3, and for items per page, increase the number of posts displayed to 9. Then leave equal height toggled on, so everything aligns nicely. Let's set the query now. We'll leave the source as posts and we'll set it to include posts by term, which is the episodes category. We can change the way the posts are ordered, but we'll leave the defaults to order by date, descending from newest to oldest. Let's delete the old posts widget, as well as the container below it. We'll click Publish and add a display condition to include only the episodes category. And click Save and Close. Now we need to go back to the homepage and update the Loop Carousel widget we added earlier. From the top bar, click the Page Name dropdown, where we have quick access to our most recently edited pages, and select Home. Scroll down and select the loop carousel we added earlier. We'll choose the same loop template we used before in the single post and archive. It's set to show the latest 6 episodes. In Settings, let's move the episodes a bit closer together. We'll set Offset Slides to both and reduce the offset width. We'll click Publish to save our changes. OK, next we'll scroll up and from our navigation menu, change Shop to Episodes and link it directly to our Episodes archive page. We'll click to enter the header and select the WordPress menu widget. Click Menu Screen to go straight to the menu options in WordPress Admin. It will open in a new tab. Expand the Shop link options and click Remove to delete it. Under Categories, we'll select Episodes and click Add to Menu. Drag the Episodes link above to reorder it. Click Save Menu. We'll refresh the page, and here it is. Great! We're ready to take our podcast live. We'll start by connecting a domain to our website. We'll exit to WordPress, and in the left panel, hover over Hosting and click Connect Domain. If you already have a domain name, enter it here. Click Let's Begin. The next screen takes us to a step-by-step guide. We'll need to have our DNS and ANAME records from our domain registrar open and ready in another tab. Note that registration may take up to 72 hours, but it's usually processed within a few minutes. If you don't have a domain name yet, you can purchase one now. From our website hosting settings at my.elementor.com, click Manage Domains. Buy a domain and enter the domain name you'd like to buy. The final step in launching our website is to turn off site lock, which makes our website publicly accessible to visitors. On our left, we have this website checklist. From the checklist, click Turn Off Site Lock and Unlock Site. And now our podcast is live. Let's preview and scroll through our podcast website. Here's our gorgeous hero. And our podcast episodes are highlighted in this stunning carousel. And here we have this gradient, which really pops. Next, we have our contact form. Let's scroll back up and click on a post to see an episode. We've got all the podcast information, and if we continue scrolling, we've got our carousel with more episodes. We just created a beautiful and professional podcast website with Elementor Hosting. You should be proud. What an accomplishment. We experienced the flexibility of WordPress along with the power of Elementor Pro as we set up our online presence and created a complete podcast experience that is scalable and can grow with us over time. And of course, with Elementor Hosting, we have the convenience of an all-in-one solution, complete with hosting, security, and performance. Subscribe to our channel to learn more about web creation and how to grow your business online. What type of podcast do you have? Let us know in the comments below. Till next time, see you soon, and thanks for watching.